You don't have a thing to worry about.
But you do, Osborn. If it fails, I get your company. Remember? Interesting way to pay back a loan, isn't it?
The debt will be paid in full as of tomorrow. Something occurs to me. Either Spider-Man's destroyed, or you get Oscorp. Whatever happens, you win.
That's why I'm the Kingpin.
Kingpin is one of those rare Marvel villains who almost never get screwed up in adaptations. From cartoons to movies to live-action shows, somehow he always shows up and delivers. That's kind of crazy when you think about how many other villains get butchered. Either they're too goofy, too generic, or just completely off from the comics. But not Fisk. He always hits. So the question is, why does Kingpin always work? Why is it so easy to adapt this giant bald guy in a white suit into almost every kind of Marvel project? And more importantly, why is the Kingpin in Netflix's Daredevil still the best version we've ever seen? Even now with him back in Daredevil Born Again. At first glance, Kingpin isn't complicated. He's just a crime boss. He's human. He's strong. He runs the city from the shadows. But here's the trick. He thinks he's the hero. Wilson Fisk always believes he's saving the city. That's his core. Even when he's causing chaos, breaking bones, or threatening reporters, it's all part of what he sees as his mission. That one idea makes him incredibly adaptable. Writers don't need to explain any crazy backstory or tech. All they need is a corrupt city, a power vacuum, and a man who believes he's the only one strong enough to fix it. That's why he works across formats. Whether it's animation, live action, or even games, Kingpin is believable. And in a world full of laser beams and magic hammers, he stands out because he feels real. Another reason Fisk keeps getting adapted well, he's easy to write, but hard to write badly. The formula is already there. He's a businessman on the surface and a monster underneath. But unlike many villains, he's not cartoonishly evil. He has a code. He cares about people, at least the ones he chooses to care about. And that adds layers. Writers don't need to reinvent the wheel with him. They just need to keep his tone consistent. A calm voice, a big presence, and that boiling anger underneath it all. He's quiet, but when he snaps, it matters. Most adaptations lean into that dynamic. They don't try to make him too flashy. They don't give him weird powers. They just give him good dialogue and let the actor do the rest. Visually, Kingpin is iconic. He's massive, usually in a sharp suit, and always carries himself like he owns the room. You don't need to guess who's in charge when Fisk walks in. Most versions don't mess with that look. Even animated shows keep him huge and dressed in white. His presence is part of the adaptation's success. He's intimidating before he even speaks. Let's be honest, Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin in Netflix's Daredevil is on another level. This version wasn't just a mob boss. He was emotional, awkward, scary, and surprisingly vulnerable. What made this performance stand out is how human it felt. Fisk wasn't always calm and collected. He struggled with his temper, his past, and even his relationship with Vanessa. He wasn't a typical mastermind who always had the upper hand. Sometimes he was unstable. Sometimes he made mistakes, but that's exactly what made him terrifying. You didn't know when he'd snap, and when he did, it was explosive. He wasn't just strong, he was brutal. That car door scene, it burned into people's memories not because it was gory, but because it showed how far he'd go when pushed, and at the center of it all was his obsession with controlling Hell's Kitchen. Not for power, but because he truly believed he could fix it. He wanted to tear it down and rebuild it his way. That made him so much more than a villain. Now that Kingpin is back in the MCU's Daredevil Born Again, he's still solid, but different. This version is more cold, more political. He's working from a higher place of power. He's using laws, influence, and the media. It's a quieter kind of evil, and to be fair, it works. Especially since his goal is still the same. Take over the city and fix it. But now, instead of just fighting Daredevil in the streets, he's attacking his life from all angles, ruining his name, his relationships, and trying to destroy Matt's faith in justice itself. It's still Kingpin, just an evolved one. The rawness, the intensity, and the personal storytelling made that one unforgettable. At the end of the day, Kingpin keeps getting adapted well, because he's built on rock-solid foundations. He doesn't rely on powers. He doesn't need fancy CGI. He just needs good writing, a strong actor, and a reason to believe he's the hero of his story. And that's why he works every time, because as long as the story gives him room to breathe, Kingpin becomes more than just a villain. He becomes the kind of character who haunts a show. Some characters need constant reinvention to stay relevant. Not Kingpin. He's timeless because his struggle is timeless. Power, control, belief in a broken system, all wrapped in a giant man with a quiet voice and a short fuse. Daredevil gave us the best version of him so far. And future adaptations, as long as they keep his heart and his rage intact, they'll probably get it right too. And honestly, that's why Kingpin will always be one of Marvel's most successful villains.